Hello and welcome to Fisher Sports Desk. I'm Sloan Martin and this is Quentin Harriger. It's a critical time for all fall sports as the teams are officially in the thick of conference play. We'll first start with football. The football team came into Saturday's game against Ithaca after a bye week and after a bad 38-20 loss to Salisbury. Basically a long time to think about the Cardinals' performance that allowed 5 sacks, 4 interceptions, and accumulated -4 yards rushing. So how would the Cardinals respond? Very simply, it was impressive. The Cardinals beat the Bombers in Ithaca 40-17, marking the 4th straight year that Fisher has won this matchup. Fisher doubled up the Bombers in first downs and accumulated 533 yards on offense. Defensively, the Cardinals held the Bombers to 36 yards on the ground and just 221 yards overall, while forcing the Ithaca quarterback into 3 interceptions. The biggest story of the game, though, was the record-setting performance by freshman Christian Zemaitis. The Spencerport native had 18 carries for 178 yards with 5 touchdowns, all in the second half. The 5-touchdown performance set a Fisher single-game record for touchdowns in a half and tied the record for touchdowns in a game. He is now tied with Fisher legend Mark Robinson, who scored 5 touchdowns against Mount Ida College during his career. Zemaitis had touchdown runs of 59, 4, 8, and 2. And after this strong showing against Ithaca, the Cardinals are now tied for the lead in the Empire 8 with a 1-0 record in conference play. This is a little misleading because Fisher has only played 1 conference game so far. Their last 4 games of the season are against Empire 8 opponents. Ithaca is right behind, though, with a 2-1 record in E8 play. Fisher's opponent this week, Utica, is currently in last place with a 3-3 record overall and has yet to win a game in the conference. And after going over that, seeing the Ithaca game, we're joined here by Paul Williams, the sports editor of the Cardinal Courier here on campus. And we're just going to go over the Ithaca game a little bit. We saw that they won 40-17. They had 533 yards of offense, but the defense also held Ithaca to 36 yards rushing. What were your impressions of this game generally?
Well, generally just a complete opposite of the Salisbury game, especially offensive defensive line. Basically what happened was offensive line they just played better. They were named the offensive line of the Empire 8 or actually the D3Football.com offensive line of the week, and just complete turnaround from last week.
Now, we definitely have to talk about with this Ithaca game the play of Christian Zemaitis, who we can't stress enough is a freshman. He tied the record for touchdowns in a game and broke the record for touchdowns in a half because all of those touchdowns were scored in the second half. He averaged 9.9 yards per carry in that game. He is 6 touchdowns ahead of any other running back on this team. It's a little bit interesting because I remember we saw him get a couple carries against Mountain Union, a little bit in the second game against Buff State because both of those were blowouts on either side, but this was just a huge explosion by him.
Yeah, like you said, he took the Fisher record for most rushing touchdowns in a game for 5, and he, just as a freshman, just really exploded and really coming out party for him this game.
Definitely. I think that's a really good way to put it because, as I said, we didn't see too much of him so far this season. Do you think, as far as this offense goes, do you think he's going to be an addition to the Carlton and Beal situation, or is he going to kind of replace them? What's going to happen?
Well, I think Carlton and Beal are always going to lead them, especially this year as their senior years. But I think you're going to see Zemaitis sort of slowly, get more and more carries as a freshman and as he gets more and more comfortable in the offense.
Do you see Zemaitis being... It's maybe too early to tell, especially after 1 game, but he did have 18 carries for 178 yards as well. Do you see something really big from him to continue throughout his career?
Oh yeah, coaches were really excited about him, especially in the beginning of the year. His brother actually was a All-American cornerback for Penn State, so he has that lineage there. But yeah, coaches are really excited about him. I think he's gonna have a great career in Fisher.
And I want to talk a little bit about the defense. We mentioned that they held Ithaca's running game to just 36 yards. The Empire 8 Defensive Player of the Week was Brendan Moore, who was actually a transfer from Empire 8 opponent Springfield. He had 9 tackles, an interception, a forced fumble, a sack, and also deflected a pass. So what are your impressions after knowing about this game, about the defense?
I mean, complete opposite from Salisbury, just like the offensive line. Defensively, they held them to 30-some yards of rushing. They had 3 interceptions, and especially more coming into the defense, just really giving them a spark.
Now let's look forward to this week against Utica. Utica right now is 0-2 in Empire 8 play, but they're 3-3 overall. However, they are first in the conference in points allowed with just 18.5, and it's no wonder for that because their head coach is Fisher's former defensive coordinator, Blaise Fasciano. So any predictions, any thoughts about this upcoming matchup, their second conference game of the season?
Well, obviously another big game. They need to win all their Empire 8 games, and with Blaise Fasciano coming back, I'm sure it'll be pretty interesting. But, you know, they are 0-2. They did lose to Ithaca. Utica did. So I'm sure they're looking to take care of business at home, but, you know, we'll see how it goes.
All right, Paul, I think that's going to wrap this up for this week. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to pick up an issue of the Cardinal Courier and also make sure to read Paul's column titled At the Buzzer. Thanks for joining us.
Yep, thanks.
Hi, I'm Christian Zamitis. I'm a running back here at St. John Fisher College. I wear the number 13 and I'm from Spenceport, New York. Coming in here, I expected a lot of myself. I didn't think I was going to get as much playing time as I do now, but I attribute my success mainly to the offensive line. It all starts there, and without the blocks, I'm not going to really go anywhere, so it makes my job easier if they're doing their job. The way I prepared myself this season was mainly just conditioning and staying in the weight room. That's, you know, the foundation to any athlete. The playbook here is hard, but as you know, it's run mainly by hand signals and stuff from the sideline. But a lot of the players here, you know, they took me under their wing and they taught me step by step what I had to do out there and learn all the signals. So, you know, really that's what helped me learn the playbook the most. One thing that you may be surprised is actually right now I'm playing on a torn meniscus. I actually tore it during my first game against Buff State. Breaking the touchdown record here, I mean, it does put a lot of pressure on me, but I'm glad I did it. I did want to set my mark on the school wherever I attended. Being the leading rusher on this team means the world to me. It does put a lot of pressure on me being that I'm a freshman, but I only plan on getting better.
We're going to have to take a break here on Fisher Sports Desk. Enough with the football segment. We have plenty of more fall sports coming up after the break.